know what potentially is going to shake free or not shake free, and so you do your due diligence and you're ready for it when it comes.
Titans running back Tajay Spears has been placed on the injured reserve after suffering a high ankle sprain earlier this month. Spears will be sidelined for at least the first 4 games of the regular season. In other NFL news, former Vols quarterback Hendon Hooker was cut last night by the Detroit Lions. For the Game Nashville Sports Network, I'm Parker Kelly.
For more, log on to theGameNashville.com. Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Ponce Law is the only personal injury law firm with the Crash Cam Network. Powered by Roadproof, capturing accident footage on highways across Middle Tennessee. Injured in an accident? Call Ponce Law. We offer a no-fee guarantee, and for over 30 years, we've been helping injured people just like you. We've been voted best law firm multiple times. I'm Michael Ponce, and we want to hear your story. Call us today at 615-244-4321. Ponce Law, justice for all.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Welcome back into the George Plaster Show on a Tuesday here in Nashville, 94.9 The Fan, alongside Kelly Holcomb. I'm Billy Derrick. We got a beautiful Tuesday here in Nashville. Once again, 79 degrees, supposed to be sunny the rest of the day. Wind will continue a little bit as well. But tomorrow, the high is 79. Thursday, the high is 79 as well. Friday, the high is 83. So a little bit warmer there on Friday. And apologies for my picture here. My head is being shadowed out for some reason, so maybe we'll try to fix that. But we will have Terry McCormick here with us momentarily, but want to kick things off with Mr. Kelly Holcomb out in Murfreesboro. Kelly, what's going on?
It's not a bad thing with your head being taken out of the picture. Not a bad thing.
I don't know why it looks like this. I got a window right behind me, and it's beaming light right at me. I guess it's that. I don't know.
Well, your forehead has a bunch of light beaming off of it too. Sometimes when you're turned around and the sun is facing you, that's not a good sight either, my friend.
Yeah, it's tough both ways. So we'll try to figure that out. But we do have some Titans to talk, some more cuts happening throughout today around the NFL, and some important ones for the Titans today as we continue with our Daily Titans update with Mr. Terry McCormick. And Terry, James Prochet obviously has been released by the Titans. Xavier Restrepo, another release. Jalen Duncan as well. Question now, who's the return man for the Titans?
Well, they have Chimere Dike. I don't know if that's the option they want to go with. I think what's going to happen is if James Prochet can get to the practice squad and another team doesn't run out and sign him, because I think he is a veteran, doesn't have to go through waivers, then they would probably just elevate him for the first game against Denver from the practice squad, then sign him for the balance of the season when the contracts are no longer guaranteed.
That's understandable. There's a better picture a little bit. Not much.
You vanished there for a second, Billy.
Terry, I want to get back to Prochet. What was the situation there? Because and is there a potential for him to potentially stay on in the practice squad?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's probably exactly what they want to do, is to, get him back on the practice squad, elevate him, because after week 1, Kelly knows this, veteran players that are signed week 2 through the rest of the year or whatever at any point, their salaries are no longer guaranteed. It's one of the fallacies of the NFL contract and the way it's written and the agreement between the league and the Players Association. But, because guys are hungry for jobs, even though players don't like that, living week to week as opposed to having the salaries guaranteed like they are in baseball or basketball, guys do it because it's an opportunity to further your career.
Terry, I saw a tweet from you earlier today talking about the 2023 draft class, how it's starting to circle the drain a little bit, the same way that 2020 through 2022 classes all did. Of course, Jalen Duncan, I mentioned him, Josh Wiley and Colton Dowell have all been cut. We know where Will Levis is on the season-ending IR, and unfortunately, Tajay Spears on the short-term IR. Is that not a microcosm of where the Titans are at right now? The fact that class as well is starting to work itself out of the franchise?
No doubt. 4 years in a row that you don't really have very many impact players. I think I'll have to give credit to Mike Herndon, who retweeted my tweet and added some more perspective. He said that from the draft classes of 2020 through 2023, there are only 3 guys who are going to be on the opening day active roster, and that's Peter Skoronski, Chika Okonkwo, Roger McCrary. Solid players, to be sure, but none of them are game changers or superstars. You would need about 15 more guys like them from those 4 draft classes in order for this team to really be where it needs to be, plus have a draft pick or 2 turn into a superstar that you can build around.
All right, before we let you go, Terry, anything else new or any parting thoughts before we wrap this thing up?
Well, it's interesting. They kept 11 offensive linemen, I believe it is, and don't get too secure in this 53-man roster, because now that the waiver cuts have been made, the Titans will be busy sorting through that, seeing if there's somebody else that they can upgrade with at a number of different positions.
All right, Terry, good report. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, sounds good.
All right, that's Terry McCormick with another Daily Titans update. Now we got some other pieces of news to get to in our normal updates, brought to you by Football Night in Nashville. Begins September the 4th out at Sports and Social in Green Hills. Come out and join us. It'll be the Eagles and the Cowboys kicking things off for the NFL season. Believe it or not, it's about a week and a half away. So Eagles, Cowboys, not this Thursday, but next Thursday, September the 4th, out at Sports and Social in Green Hills. All right, Kelly, you're going to kick things off with an interesting piece of news out of YouTube TV and Fox. So if you're interested in watching all kinds of college football, especially on the Fox networks on Saturday, you could be in a little bit of trouble. I would assume this sorts itself out, but YouTube TV and Fox are locked in a carriage dispute that could leave subscribers unable to watch Week 1 of college football this weekend. Both sides have until 4 o'clock tomorrow to reach a deal. If an agreement is not reached, YouTube TV subscribers will lose access to Fox channels, including the Fox Broadcast Network, FS1, and the Big Ten Network. And if the deal is not reached by 11 a.m. Saturday, that means fans who access Fox networks through YouTube TV would not be able to watch the Texas-Ohio State game. That would be a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, people will be a little bit upset about that one. I mean, the start of college football season, and you don't get to watch it. Of course, this stuff happens. I mean, was it Comcast that had to dispute not too long ago that George couldn't watch? He couldn't watch Braves games on Comcast or something like that. So there's stuff happening all the time with these companies gobbling each other up and joining each other. So it's something all the time, it seems like, and everything's going to streaming. You know that. So it's just a different world than when I was growing up, when you got a couple of college football games a day and you got 4 bowl games on January 1st. It's a totally different world now, man. It's crazy.
Also, the NCAA, we've talked all about the dangers of gambling and how it can affect college athletes, especially after games. If you lose on a game-winning kick, that kicker, obviously he's going to be hearing from it. And obviously, we know that at the pro level, but with these are kids. These are 18 to 22, 23-year-old kids. And because of all this and everything that's happened the last 2 to 3 years with some of these lawsuits, the NCAA and Venmo have announced a partnership to combat abuse and harassment of college athletes. Well, you ask, why Venmo? Well, some college athletes have received requests for money from losing bettors and solicitations for inside information. And that's obviously messed up. But this partnership features a dedicated hotline for athletes to report harassment, education on account security, and increased monitoring. Venmo's security team will monitor social media trends and events during games, such as last-second missed field goals, like I said, that have triggered surges in those unwanted interactions. And Kelly, research has showed that 20% of online abuse directed at athletes on social media is connected to sports betting. This sounds like it could be a good move, a positive step in the right direction. Again, this isn't going to stop crazy people from interacting and harassing these college athletes, because that's this world, that's today's society. But this could be a good first step, because like I said, Venmo, that's where these people are attacking a lot of these athletes.
Well, what did they think that what was going to happen though? Like you're paying now you're starting to pay college kids like you're paying them professional prices, and they're getting professional salaries now. So they're going to get it too, and that's one of the bad things about the things that are going on right now. The betting and all that has gotten outrageous. The NFL has allowed it. We talked about this before. They never thought that Las Vegas would ever have an NFL franchise in Las Vegas, and now they do. They've had a Super Bowl there, and it was always taboo about gambling, but gambling has gotten so outrageous now, and it's creeping into, the college games. They've always been doing it, but now these young men and young women are getting paid all this money, and there's crazies out there. You know that. You said it, Billy. There's people out there that when something like that happens, I don't like it, because you're right. 18 to 23-year-old kids, they need to enjoy college. And I know there's pressure when you go to a big school, but like now when you get people that are gambling and you get them on you, it's not a good thing. And hopefully they can kind of rectify that. Venmo, my wife uses Venmo. I've told you, I don't know how to do Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, none of X. I don't know any of that stuff.
We need to do a training session for you on Facebook.
I'm out. Well, I mean, when you get on Facebook, you see people. I don't want people knowing everything I do. Hey, I had a good workout at the gym this morning, or I don't care. I don't want people knowing that about me.
Well, I want people to know some quarterback situations around the country heading into week 1 of college football. Missouri, they'll play Central Arkansas Thursday night, but that's not the news. Earlier today, Eli Drinkwitz announced that they will split the time between Bo Perbula and Sam Horn. And we knew they'd split, or not necessarily split, but this will be a dead split, Kelly. And this is rare nowadays. Perbula will start and play the first half, which I would guess gives him the advantage on the leg up, which most people believe anyway. And Sam Horn will play the second half. Well, how do you feel about that? Because you don't see a ton of that, but especially in a lot of these quarterback battles nowadays.
Well, they're playing Central Arkansas, so
right. But
is it going to be is it going to be a fair deal though, Billy? Like, are you going to allow one kid to play with the first string, and then the second kid in the second half play with the second string? I know it depends on how the game is going, but I think you've got to make it equal. So I think, if it's me, I would let one guy play in the first quarter, and I would obviously, if you only had one drive in the first quarter, you might let him have a little bit, but you got to allow them to kind of have the same guys in, the same sense of competition, the sense of fairness about it. But these coaches nowadays, man, I've got stories now about coaches that just, I don't know, man, it just seems like they're scared to make decisions sometimes.
I'm with you. I don't think this will be a fair split. I mean, if you're up 24-0, do you change your scheme and your game plan on what you do offensively if you're Missouri there in the second half? So that'll be interesting to see. Splitting time, Bo Perbula, Sam Horn for the Tigers on Thursday. Also, out in Colorado, Deion Sanders announced Liberty transfer Caden Salter will start at quarterback against Georgia Tech on Friday night, which will be, and it should be a good game. Obviously, Georgia, that's a tough start to the season for Salter in Colorado. He's played a lot of football, though, obviously at Liberty. The hope is that Julian Lewis, the young freshman, will also get some playing time. So that'll be fun to watch Friday. Speaking of Colorado, they have announced that Ralphie the Sixth will be retiring immediately. So, and I mean, that's, you hate hearing that, but there was an indifference to running that contributed to this decision. So I would assume they repped Ralphie out there, and he was not looking great. So in the meantime, Ralphie the 7th will begin training. Colorado will not have its annual tradition until Ralphie the 7th completes its training. So they will not have.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, they won't have a Ralphie coming out because that Friday night game against Georgia Tech, that I want to say that's on ESPN. That could be the Fox game. No, that is ESPN. Georgia Tech, Colorado is ESPN. Auburn, Baylor's Fox. You'd like to see Ralphie run out there.
What does indifference to running mean? Does that mean Ralphie just said, flip this, I'm not doing it anymore?
That's what it sounds like, that Ralphie was getting old and just said, screw this. But
he said, this is too hard on the joints, Hoss. I'm not doing it. What did he do? Did they try him and he just went out and sat down? I don't know. Is that what indifference to running means?
I would guess so. We don't have film on this. But I'll try to dig deeper on what the latest is with Ralphie the 6th, but retired immediately. And this is abruptly, a few days before the season. So you wonder if something happened. Also in the NFL, a couple of quick hitters here. The Giants have waived fan favorite Tommy DeVito. He burst on the scene with 3 straight wins back in 2023. He embraced the nickname Tommy Cutlets, being from New Jersey. Unfortunately, he was the odd man out behind Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Jackson Dart. He was a hit, Kelly, for a few games. Like I said, he played in 12 career games in New York, had 8 starts, but that was a situation where they needed him in an instant, and he came through. But that's how hard it is to maintain in the NFL and sustain.
Absolutely, man. That's professional sports. You got to be able to do it, and it's amazing how coaches get set in their minds about a certain guy or a certain player, and no matter what they do or no matter how they play or the consistency that they show, you can't change that coach's mind. I've been there before. I've had it happen to me, and I think that he was kind of undersized guy. He was kind of he's kind of the American story about the underdog, and just didn't turn out. And you see that all the time, Billy. But you hate that because I thought he did some good things. I thought he was a good player, but obviously they didn't see it that way.
Also, the Commanders released quarterback Sam Hartman. He should return to the practice squad if he clears waivers. So we'll keep you guys updated on some other news around the league, and also with the Titans. You would assume that most of the Titans moves have already been made official, at least the key ones so far today. Terry hit on it there at the top. James Prochet, the big news of the day with him being released, could return to the practice squad, though. So, we may talk about that a little bit later in the show, too. And I know we're going to try to take some calls, Kelly. What do the Titans do at that return man spot? But coming up, it's Tennessee Tuesday. That means Tony Basilio. We're talking Tennessee and Syracuse coming up Saturday at 11 a.m. It's game week. Tony's going to be fired up. So are we. So keep it right here on 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
A golf cart from Mikey's Motors is the perfect way to get around this summer. Whether you're going to the park, the pool, or the playground, do it in a brand new golf cart from Mikey's Motors, Franklin and Murfreesboro.
Summertime fun in Tennessee. That's what we sell at Mikey's Motors. Come see how we roll.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling. They enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
At Wilson Bank and Trust, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between personal service and digital solutions. As your local independent bank, we're proud to offer the relationships and trusted service you expect, along with the tools and technology that keep you moving forward. So whether you're growing a business, buying a home, or planning for the future, we're here to help. Because this isn't just where we work, it's where we live too. Wilson Bank and Trust, here to get you there. Member FDIC.
Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
On a Tennessee Tuesday, on a beautiful Tuesday in Nashville, alongside Kelly Holcomb. I'm Billy Derrick, and it's no time to waste here with Tony Basilio coming right up. Tony, what's going
Gentlemen,
on?
how we doing?
Doing great.
Good now. You're good.
I'm trying.
How you feeling?
I'm okay. I'm ready
Well,
for football season, guys. I'm ready to roll.
What does trying mean, man? Like Coach Bryant's, there's somebody came up to him and he said, I can get a freshman to try, man. What does trying mean? Are you good?
Got to get up every day and go, brother. That's what trying means.
How fired up are you for Saturday?
Man, I love this stuff, There's just nothing like football season. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but here in East Tennessee, it feels like autumn outside all of a sudden.
Man.
Just the last
Nice,
couple
yeah.
days. Just autumn.
Beautiful.
Yeah, man.
And
it was so brutally hot this summer, wasn't it, guys? I mean, just
so hot.
I mean, if I wanted to do this, I'd live in Orlando, this kind of weather we've had.
Well, Tony, on Saturday, I'm just hoping we don't see Joey Aguilar's dad and brother fight in Atlanta outside the stadium after the game.
They were involved with that kid. That was one of the quarterbacks that Tennessee got involved with. And, I wrote in my blog, the equivalent to that would have been if he would have come to Tennessee and they would have lost to Syracuse. They would have fought down there in the varsity, and with them rolling around the ground and somebody screaming, "What do you have? What do you have? What do you have? What do you have?" in the background.
Yeah, we talked about that. I could not believe what happened out there, but I'm looking forward for Saturday with Tennessee because of, number one, Joey Aguilar. What are we going to see? Because we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't. This is a season for the Vols that we don't know what we're going to get. Last year,
right.
You felt like you had a good grasp. This team has playoff expectations. But Tony, from the people I've talked to, I'm hearing people say, "Hey, 9-3, maybe 10-2 for the playoff." I'm also hearing some people, say, "Hey, the floor for this team could be 6-6, 7-5."
I just don't know how you'd go 6-6 against that schedule. I mean, they have the Dregs Society in the SEC as their 4 of their league games. Then you get a couple of these kicking scrimmages. I mean, if you put Tennessee's schedule, if you look at it, it's brutally easy. It's kind of a shame the whole Nico thing blew up this year, because it would have been interesting to see how they would have navigated that. The question marks I have about this team are, how long is it going to take for all this cohesively to fit together, which is, I guess, a question mark about a lot of major college football. And watching week 0 just kind of reminded me of how these games are played on a razor's edge. That Kansas State-Iowa State game the other day, couple busts in the secondary by either team, and points were scored after it's 7-7 basically for 3 quarters, and then all of a sudden these two teams are going up and down the field. It's going to be really interesting to see how Saturday goes. I guess the good news is that Syracuse is kind of in the same boat, and probably with inferior players. Syracuse replaces a lot off their team last year, and probably with inferior players. And the Angeli guy that transferred in from Notre Dame, is a guy that can throw it, but he can't move at all. Can't move. So, and I should know, I have Italian blood in me as well, and we can't move. So you put some pressure on him, and and it should be very difficult. I think Tennessee's defensive line, which is what ends up happening with a lot of these ACC, SEC games, it generally comes down to that defensive line play for controlling the game. I think Tennessee's defensive line should control this game.
Are you feeling slugfest? Or are you feeling a lot of points? Because of that defensive line pressure that Tennessee could get on Steve Angeli. What kind of game are you feeling Saturday?
No idea, man. Because here's my thing: when I think about Saturday, 2 things come to mind. Will Tennessee go fast, or will they run the ball and rely on their tight ends? Like, what are they going to try and do? Syracuse, I think, wants to play fast. But again, if you're playing fast with a brand new quarterback who's been there just a little over 100 days, with new wide receivers, with a new offensive line, playing against an SEC offensive line, are you setting yourself up for disaster when you do that? Then again, maybe Syracuse goes out there and they can make plays. The crazy thing about that sport right now, as we sit here in 2025, is that you kind of get a feel for what you think's going to happen, but there's so many unknowns that it's just hard for me to take a stance on a game like this. But I do think Tennessee has a better team. I think they've got better line play on both lines. I hope their offensive line is Tennessee's, that is ready for a game like this. But again, that's several new pieces trying to fit together. And who knows what it looks like. It's a really compelling sport now in the transfer portal era. I'm not sure if it's a better sport than it was. I'm not sure if the quality of football we're seeing is better than it was. But it's certainly a compelling sport now.
What did Josh Heupel have to say today? I'm sure it was a lot of information that got fans fired up for the season, and especially when it comes to Boo Carter. And that was a joke, by the way.
Well, he's just mastered the art of not saying anything. I don't. He's a very decent guy, and his kids like him, and they respond to him, and they play hard for him, but they don't even try. He doesn't even try.
No.
I mean, at his press conferences, he doesn't even make any bones about trying. He doesn't even pretend to try, which I guess okay.
How many fans do you think, Tennessee fans, travel down to Atlanta?
That's a really great question, because I think, comparatively speaking, I think this has been kind of a soft sell down there. I remember going there when Tennessee played NC State in 2010, and there were probably, and that was the last year of Dooley.
Yeah.
I mean, Tennessee's in a period where they've been okay. They've played well. I would imagine that thing probably has a 75 or 80% capacity in that building, would be my guess.
Because Syracuse isn't traveling.
I mean, I wouldn't think so.
Kelly, what you got?
So, Tony, what are your – I know you've talked about the offense, and it seems like it's going to be a defensively dominated team this year.
Yeah.
And obviously, we've talked about it before. Defense are ahead of offenses. But what are your expectations of this offense? Do you know anything? Like, I know that you said you're not really comfortable with the wideouts. I know you think they're going to have to throw to the tight ends. But what are your expectations, and what do you think the staff's expectations are of this offense?
I think there's a lot of unknown here, Kelly. Look. You've got this Aguilar guy who, in the off season, or in the run up to this, won the job. But as we were talking about last week, it isn't like he went out and adorned himself in glory. So there's certainly that. The other side is that you just have so many new pieces. I think they feel like, when it's all said and done, when they finally get everything they want to do installed, they can be pretty good offensively. But how long is that going to take? It's going to go past this week. I can promise you that. In terms of what they want to do, how they want to look. And so when you start talking about, and I start thinking about this weekend, like tempo, what are they going to do tempo-wise? Last year, they ran the football. Controlled the ball, and made the playoffs doing that. You know, theoretically, if their running game was good enough and their defense was good enough, against that schedule they have, they could go 9-3 again, 10-2. You know, they could scratch their way into a playoff. Their only surefire loss of the year is Georgia here. They do have to go to Alabama. I don't think they're winning that game. I think Alabama's going to make a playoff. I don't think Tennessee's going to win that game. But then after that, it's a trip to Florida. God knows what Florida's going to look like come November with the schedule they're playing, the health of their quarterback, the way that poor kid just can't stay healthy, and then Oklahoma in November. And who knows what Oklahoma's going to look like. So, and then the bottom four teams projected in the SEC or their other league games, including the likes of Kentucky, Arkansas, Mississippi State, and Vanderbilt.
Let me ask you this, because Watson said this on our show, and I'm sure he might have said it on your show, but he brought up a point the other day, and I've asked some people, and I want to get your expertise on this. But with the transfer portal and all these kids transferring everywhere, I think it really has a lot to do with quarterbacks, and quarterbacks are going for money. And it seems like to me, and I've talked about this, that it takes a while to learn an offense. And I just don't think Joey Aguilar can learn all the intricate details of the offense with the amount of time that he's been there. Now, you can try to teach him, you can keep him up, but you still have to have experience. You have to be on the field playing that. Do you see like some of the college football production from these quarterbacks going downhill in the upcoming years, because it's just like it's like a 1-year vigilante type deal where these guys are going for money, but their productivity is probably not going to be as good if they could stay at another place. I just see that happening, and Watson brought that up, and I want to see what your thoughts on that are.
I think that's really, and then another thing that compounds that is these offensive linemen are transferring a lot too, which isn't known. We focus on quarterbacks, and that's fine. But when new quarterbacks are working with new offensive linemen and everybody's trying to get a sense for each other, it's going to take a while. It's kind of like watching the NFL now. The NFL a couple years ago, when they decided, you know what, we're not even going to act like these preseason games, we're not even going to even act like they matter. We're just going to use all these guys that we're going to cut, and we're going to play basically spring league games, and then we're going to charge people admission to come see them, and we're going to use the spring league players, and then we're going to cut all the spring league players, and then when we play our season, if you'll notice, guys, at the pro level, and these are guys that have all the meeting time they want. It takes a good month for that season now to take shape. With the way they do what they do. Why would college ball be any different? I mean, if you stop and think about that for a second, and then, the other thing that's interesting and will be interesting about this season is that this whole thing that Tennessee's been thrown into by Nico's loss, it's a real spot that you're in. And it wasn't of their own choosing, by the way, but it wasn't like they were innocent in it. I don't know if you guys saw, but Joel Klatt came out and said that, Tennessee's controlled the narrative on that thing, and that, Nico's really a victim. And I mean, Tennessee's offense, listen, he goes, Tennessee's offense, it wasn't preparing him for the NFL, and that's why they left. And I mean, Joel Klatt, let me tell you something. Joel Klatt needs a red nose, some rouge, and some funny shoes, because he's a clown. I mean, you gotta be freaking kidding me. But the fact is that this year, Tennessee fans are going to watch two teams play. They're going to watch their team, okay? And they're going to be watching that UCLA bunch. I did a show about it last week. I said, when it comes to Nico, you're cheering for him. Like, I put 4 things out. You hope the kid does well. You hope the kid has a bad season. You've let him go. Or number 4, you hope his dad goes broke. That was my 4th choice. And the truth is, Tennessee fans, if this doesn't go well for them this year, they're going to be hate watching a lot on the left coast, because misery loves company. So, but who knows, guys, what you get from these games. I'll give you another, for instance. The other night, UNLV, they're like a 4-score favorite against that 1AA team. And I had no idea that 1AA team even had a team. Okay. Yeah. None of us did. And they went up and down the field. We know the Idaho Vandals. I didn't know about Idaho State. Did you guys? I had no idea.
I've heard of them. I didn't know what their nickname was. I know the Idaho Vandals.
And they went like this, right up and down the field on them, because truthfully, we don't know. We don't know till we get there.
So let's stick with quarterbacks. If something happens to your starter, where do they go? Which young man do they go to? Because we saw where, one of them you talk about is too thin. One of them is didn't have a good camp. So where do you go? And has Josh Heupel talked about that? You say he doesn't say much in press conference, but is it like that's got to be a concerning factor for those guys if something happens to their starter?
Merklinger had, guys, a horrendous camp. Okay, no offense to him. And the McIntyre kid probably played the best of the 3, but they don't want to play him, as I've told you on here, because he's sort of slight. And so they're going to go to Merklinger next. The problem is, Kelly, you know this. When a guy's in bad camp and he's not locked in, and if he's not locked in, and I go to you, how long will you stay the quarterback? Eventually, they're going to have to play the guy they don't want to play. They hope like hell it does not come to that. In their perfect season, this year, they went out, they found a guy that's able to hold the position down, makes himself kind of a Tennessee legend. They go out and win 9 or 10 games and we're calling him Joey Football by the end of the year. And he's a gamer, and they're fun to watch. And he's able, he's not going to make all the plays, but he's able to make enough of them that they have a season full of life and create some good memories. And they don't have to play McIntyre and expose him to it. And they don't have to play Merklinger, because I don't know that they want to see that. So I think in a perfect year, this kid holds a job down.
So I've been meaning to ask you this weeks ago. But obviously, a personal note to me, how's Caleb Herring doing? I read something about him on some quotes today from Tim Banks talking about how he's healthy again. That was kind of the problem with Caleb when he was at Riverdale when I was coaching him. Couldn't stay healthy. But how has he performed this summer?
It's a great question. I mean, they're so secretive with things, Kelly. And that's not, to be honest with you, he's not a name that's been on the top of mind. He's in a spot where they just have they have a lot of bodies. So we'll see what happens. Tennessee's defensively, and I've told you guys this in the past, the strangest thing about this Heupel area here we're going into the fifth season, and their depth chart management of what goes on the defensive side of the ball is really excellent. They really do a nice job. And the best recruiters on their staff are on the defensive side of the ball. It's a defensive-oriented football team.
Okay, so you're good on Tim Banks now. You're straight.
Well, he doesn't recruit. But the recruiters he just doesn't. And that's what I was telling you about him getting the MTSU job. I mean, that's all fine and well and good, and he talked well at a press conference. But he's not a roll up the sleeves and go get football players, guys. But his staff those guys are excellent recruiters. Very good.
A lot like you, Tony. You're excellent. Glad you're feeling better. Tell people where they can find you, especially with football season right around the corner.
Yeah, man. tclub.team is where you find us. And over on YouTube, Tony Basilio Show. And Billy, I thank you. And we were listening to you guys, I guess it was yesterday, me and Laura, and just enjoying the program. So keep doing what you're doing.
Appreciate it.
Hey, fired up, guys. Let's get ready.
Fired up. Football's back.
Billy, how about Notre Dame? Notre Dame and Miami. What's going to happen, man?
I got Notre Dame, but it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy in Miami. Of course, Carson Beck is a guy they just inserted, right after Cam Ward. So
that's
gonna be tough. I saw where Notre Dame is 0-5 in their last 5 against Miami, or maybe even 0-6. So, and it'll be a good crowd too. I was trying to tell George that, because Tony, when's the last time Miami you looked at a Miami game and said, man, what an atmosphere. Like, I'm still doubting it's going to be a good crowd, but I don't know. They're not known for having great atmospheres.
No, but a lot of those Yankees down there are going to pile in South Florida.
Oh,
Wouldn't surprise me if there's a huge Notre Dame crowd in there.
Huge Notre Dame.
Like when the Yankees play down there, like when they play the Marlins or somebody. So what can I tell the Tennessee fan, Billy, on the way out about this Angeli guy? What's your view of him?
Played a little
something to take back to the people here.
He's tough.
And throw it.
He's tough. And you mentioned how he's going to get knocked down. He'll get knocked down, but he's got a little bit of Pavia in him. He's not as mobile as Pavia, but he's tough. And he came in against Penn State in that playoff game last year and led a touchdown drive. So hasn't played a ton, but in his moments, he's stepped up, and he's an old guy at this point, and he's going back home to New Jersey to play for his home city. So, I don't think it's sky high expectations for him, but he's got a little bit of something to him.
Well, I know one thing. You were talking about that kid from Miami's quarterback this year, that Beck kid.
Yeah.
I hear he got a sweet NIL deal with Sarah Lee because they saw all those turnovers last year, and they said, man, he needs to rep our product. He is Apple turnovers.
Hey, he got some Maseratis with all that NIL money. Maybe Sarah Lee gave him some more.
Yeah, that kid's a clown. Thanks, you guys.
Love you.
See y'all.
See you.
Nobody better. Tony Basilio. What an ending. Sarah Lee. That'd be a good sponsor.
Pretty good right there. That would be a good sponsor. Some turnovers.
All right, that's
some pastry turnovers.
Coming up, we're going to talk about a little bit of what he got into there with this Tennessee-Syracuse game. He doesn't know. He has no idea, and that's pretty appropriate. We didn't know what was going to happen on Saturday, week 0 for Iowa State, K-State. We don't know for a lot of these matchups. So we'll react to a little bit of what Tony Basilio had to say coming right up. Keep it right here, especially Tennessee fans. 94.9, The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler. Sports and Social at Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a racing sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall. Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. Here's Officer Garen Hoskins for the Metro Nashville Police Department.
The Metro Nashville Police Department is on the forefront of policing in this century, and I'm glad I'm a part of it. I'm glad I get to find other good officers, other future good officers. And if you're watching today, or you yourself or someone you happen to know is interested, join MNPD.com. Feel free to reach out to us because we need good officers, and it's a great city to work for.
Start of many.
If you want to be part of the Plaster Show advertising family, it's simple. Just email me, plastergeorge@gmail.com. Again, plastergeorge@gmail.com. We will fit your budget and your needs.
A lot of people want to define teams by singular performances.
Sports. Did he not go back into the game after that interception?
Let's get this turned around. And we're all saying, no, they don't.
Here.
You thought you were on your way.
Your sports live here.
On ESPN 94.9.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
We are back. Quick segment here on a Tennessee Tuesday, talking a little Tennessee and Syracuse. Kelly, the more I think about this game, the more I think Tennessee lucked out schedule-wise. And here's why. Because you played this Syracuse team last year in Atlanta to kick off the season against Kyle McCord and that offensive line they had. They picked up last year what they did out of the portal, Fran Brown. I think they had a top 25 portal class. You bring in McCord, a couple of offensive linemen. They had some good weapons on the outside. But they're a totally different team this season. You lose McCord, and that was a lot of swagger. I don't know if you saw any of the clips from him last year, and we're going to get into this with Syracuse guest coming up a little bit shortly. But the more I think about it, I think it's more about Syracuse as opposed to being encouraged by what we're going to see from Tennessee Saturday. We could come away encouraged Saturday by Tennessee. I just don't think this Syracuse team is any good.
This is what every university is going through right now because they really don't know, Billy. You look at Syracuse, they lost 6 guys on offense They lost 8 guys on defense. That's a totally whole different team, and that's what every coach is struggling with now. They're losing so many guys. They're losing some to graduation. They're losing in the transfer portal. You're having to mold guys together. It's college free agency right now, so you really don't know what you're getting. And I'm sure you're going to ask it, or I'm going to ask it. I just like Cal McCord when he was at Ohio State. That just shows you kind of the pressure that you're under being Ohio State quarterback. He was there with Marvin Harrison Jr. They played together in high school, but like the pressure there to perform all the time, Kyle McCord didn't handle it very well, and I didn't think he was very good. And then he goes to Syracuse, and he got a different jersey on. He got a different atmosphere. He got a different coaching staff in front of him. So he had a really good year last year, and I don't know if they thought that he would have the year that he had last year, but they went 10-3 last year with him. So he brought those guys up to a different level, and I'm not sure with all the new guys that they got right now. Now, you talked about him having a top 25 in the portal last year. I don't know what he did this year, but obviously he can recruit kids and he can get kids in there.
It wasn't
but
last
I just
year.
don't.
I'll say that.
I just don't know. I don't know what any team's going to be right now. And I don't think you can going into it. I'm not even sure the coaches know right now with all the new kids that they've got on their teams and how you get some scrimmages and you get inter-squad scrimmages, but how are they going to perform when the lights come on and when there's pressure in the game? How is that going to happen? And I don't know if any of these coaches really truly know what they've got. They can look on tape and see, but like, do they fit in our scheme? They have so far. But like when things get tough and they have to play a whole game, like what kind of player are they? And I just think, I think Tony hit the nail on the head. He doesn't know. I don't think Syracuse knows. So that's why the first game is so interesting.
With Tennessee's offense, obviously Aguilar has had to learn that in 5 months, if that. So I don't
think you can do that. I don't think you can do it. I really don't. As a quarterback, I don't think you can learn an offense that quickly. I really don't. I was in Indianapolis's offense, and then we carried that when I went with Bruce to Cleveland. But I was in it for 3 years before. Like I'll be sitting in meetings sometime, and I'll be like, "We'd been going over this stuff since day one," but I'm like, it clicked in my head. Oh, that's what you're talking about. I didn't say that out loud, but like I just don't think quarterbacks can do it, and that's why I keep asking that question to guys because. Yeah. When you're having so many transfers come in and you're giving these one-year vigilantes, I don't think they can learn the offense, and I don't think they can showcase what they can do without. And that's why I think Watson said it talking about Ty Simpson. I'm for him because he stayed. He had some hard times, and now he's getting his opportunity, and he's been in that offense. It's going to be fun to see what he does.
Put the Aguilar glasses on when you're learning this offense, and I want you to put yourself in his shoes Saturday. It's 11 a.m. in Atlanta. You're facing a Syracuse defense led by Fran Brown, who was a secondary coach. And I'm going to ask this too, so don't steal this one. But Fran Brown was the DB coach at Georgia for a few seasons. And he had to have crossed over facing a Josh Heupel offense at least once and has faced those offenses before. So this isn't going to be anything new for Fran Brown, and I don't think it's very new anymore to defensive coordinators around the country. But for Aguilar, obviously it's explosive. It's an up-tempo system. It's based on the Art Briles offense. You've got things like the deep choice route, the slot mesh, Kelly, and it's a run-heavy offense, right? So put yourself in his shoes. What is he going to be seeing? Because this is live game action now. What's he reading? And what's he going to be seeing under center? Well, they're not under center. He's in the gun. But kind of put yourself in Aguilar's shoes.
Well, here's the deal when you talk about Fran Brown being a DB coach. Usually when DB coaches become defensive coordinators, they like to bring the house on you. They'll give you multiple looks, and they like bringing pressure. That's kind of how they are. You look at Aaron Glenn with the New York Jets when he was at Detroit. Todd Bowles the same way, who I was with in Cleveland. He's the head coach for the Bucks, brings it all over the place. So that's kind of what DB coaches, when they become coordinators, they like to do. And if I'm Joey Aguilar, I just got to play within myself. I don't want to go fitting balls in like everybody says, and everybody's been overly critical of him so far this year. I don't want to put my team in bad situations, because I think it's like the Oklahoma game last year. And I thought Josh Heupel did a great job with Nico, because Nico was not ready for that. He was not ready for that atmosphere. And Josh Heupel understood that, and he said, hey, we can run the ball. These guys can't stay up with us physically, so let's just run the ball, take the pressure off him. If you're Joey Aguilar, you've got a great defense. They've got all these guys they got to replace on offense, so I think their defense is going to hold up. Just don't turn the ball over, play within myself, manage the game as a quarterback, hand the ball off to the running back. When I have to make a play or two, I make the play. If I can't, I'm going to take off running, or I'm going to make things happen with my feet. I just think you have to play, and that's every quarterback though, Billy.
Yeah.
You have to do that. But I think he has to play within himself and get his kind of, his feet under him and just run the offense, and that's what Josh Heupel and his staff wants.
Speaking of Tennessee, they have just extended Josh Heupel through January of 2030, according to Adam Sparks on Twitter. So Tennessee's best 3-year stretch in 2 decades means an extension for Coach Heupel. We may touch on that a little bit more. Came right after our interview with Tony. We're going to keep talking about this Tennessee-Syracuse matchup, but we're going to go over to the Syracuse perspective and be joined by Mike McAllister, who covers Syracuse, publisher of Syracuse on 24/7, part of the 24/7 Sports Network there. We're going to dive deeper into this matchup from that orange perspective. So keep it right here. We got Stat of the Day coming up, but more Tennessee Q's talk right here, 94.9 The Fan.
The wait is over. The largest sports book in Kentucky is now open at the Mint Gaming Hall, Kentucky Downs. Feel the rush of every play in a venue built for sports fans. Catch all your favorite games with an 80-foot screen, stadium-style seating, and live daily broadcasts from VSiN, the sports betting network. Plus, download the Circa Sports Kentucky mobile app today and start betting like a pro anywhere in Kentucky. The largest sports book in Kentucky, Circa Sports, is now open at the Mint Gaming Hall, Kentucky Downs.
This week's Nashville's best deals. Score half off a $100 gift card to the always vibrant Homegrown Tap Room and Kitchen for just $50. Tap into their scratch kitchen favorites, tasty craft brews, lively vibes, including darts, video games, live music, and the ultimate neighborhood hangout experience in Donaldson. Claim yours at 949thefan.com/deals while supplies last. This deal is too good to pass up. Get half off $100 to Homegrown Tap Room and Kitchen at 949thefan.com/deals.
Every child deserves to start the school year with confidence. For over 5,000 kids in Middle Tennessee, that's not always possible. A donation of just $20 provides a new pair of athletic shoes, giving a child one less thing to worry about. That's Souls for the 615, brought to you by Cromwell Media and Souls for Souls. We've teamed up to make sure every child in our community steps into the year ready, and we need your help. Head to thegamenashville.com/shoes and donate today, because every child deserves to walk into school with pride.
This is Freddie and Harry on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Hello. The Steelers need Aaron Rodgers to play well. They brought him in to be the savior.
That's a lot of risk for a guy that still got it, but it's going to be 42 years of age. If he has what they believe he has, then Pittsburgh could be a legitimate threat in the AFC. If he looks old, that is a risk the Steelers are going to have blown up in their faces.
Check out more from Freddie and Harry weekdays at 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Amber and Ian.
Live from the Big Ten champion Oregon Ducks at a student radio station on campus in Eugene, Oregon.
I like the idea of there being glass and just random 19-year-olds walking by and thinking, why is this old guy in this student radio station?
And they turn around and look in and like I'm in a zoo.
Amber and Ian. Weeknights at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on SiriusXM Channel 80.
Now, here's your latest Fox 17 Code Red weather report.
I'm Fox 17 meteorologist Brett Luna. We're looking at pretty nice weather for the next several days. We'll have highs in the lower 80s Wednesday and Thursday, and it's not going to be humid either. Highs go up a little bit for Friday through the weekend. We'll be around the mid and upper 80s, but still with the lower humidity.
Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network. Start your engines. Nashville's biggest racing weekend is back. It's the Borchetta Bourbon Music City Grand Prix, August 30th and 31st at Nashville Super Speedway. The speed, the sound, the stars of open wheel racing are all going full throttle. And you can catch every second of the action right here on 102.5 The Game. Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Racing takes over Music City. Don't miss a lap. Your sports live here on 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9 The Fan. A Cromwell media station.
30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
We are back on a Tuesday here in Nashville. George out on vacation this week. He'll be back Thursday for a visit during Underdog Picks, so you will be able to hear from him then. But right now, we've got Stat of the Day brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. You can find them in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. Give them a call, 615-754-9800, or log on to their website. That's applecollisioncenters.com. All right. Looky here, we're going Syracuse theme today. Last year was Syracuse's first ranked season since 2018. Who was the quarterback, Kelly, of that 2018 team? This is tough from your perspective. I don't think I would know this either.
I mean, y'all need to give me like, A, B, C, D. Like you need to give me one of those. I can. It's another one of those deals where, what was the guy Ian, the guy from Notre Dame, Ian Book, that I could not remember. I can see this dude's face, but I do not remember his name. I can't even. I don't even know his name, Billy. Do you? I mean, I know you see it right now on your screen. I don't. Go ahead and put it up there because I can't remember his name.
It is Eric Dungy.
Yep.
Eric Dungy and Mike.
I could have stayed here for 1,000 years and would have never got that. That was not the guy I was thinking about.
Well, I was gonna
Eric
say
Dungy.
we could phone a friend, but Mike probably knew that right away. So that's not.
Way to go! Thanks, Mike. I wish I could have phoned you. Sorry.
Well, speaking of Mike, we're going to dive deeper into Syracuse, and Eric Dungy is a pretty good little quarterback there for Syracuse, of course, back in 2018. We're going to dive deeper into the Orange with Mike McAllister from Syracuse on 24/7. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Doing good. We talked a lot about the matchup from the Tennessee perspective. I want to start with Syracuse from last season. I'm really interested to see how that team was formed. You bring in Kyle McCord. If you're Fran Brown, you got a couple of offensive linemen out of the portal that were big gets as well. How did that team come together last year? And was that something that you expected was even possible last year, to that level?
Well, I'll answer your last question first. Once the team came together, I think a lot of people looked at the schedule and thought it was possible, because when you have a quarterback that was as good as what Kyle McCord was, and I understand that Ohio State fans were very critical of him, but his 1 year as a starter, he was 11-1. I mean, you take an 11-1 starter from Ohio State and bring him over to Syracuse, I think most Syracuse fans are going to be pretty happy with that. So once that happened, I think everyone felt pretty good about what this team could be. And even though there were a couple of hiccups that maybe were unexpected, like losing at home to Stanford and losing to a so-so Boston College team, largely it was still a very successful season. As far as how it came together, there's a lot of tales about, guys with connections to Fran Brown, like Jackson Meeks, who was a special teams player for a few years when Fran was at Georgia, things like that. But it really, again, all centered around Kyle McCord. The story goes that Aronde Gadsden told Fran Brown, yeah, I'll stick around, but you got to find a quarterback. And so the fact that they were able to get a guy like Kyle McCord and bring him in, that kept Aronde Gadsden there, and then the buy-in from the returning leaders like the Marlo Wax and the Justin Barons and the Dan Villaris and those types, LaQuinn Allen as well. When they all bought in, then I think everything else kind of fell into place.
Fran Brown obviously was a defensive coach at Georgia, DB's coach to be specific. And I brought this up to Kelly, the segment before. I got to thinking, Fran Brown's probably faced Josh Heupel at Tennessee. You would think at least once. My luck that he hasn't, and there is no crossover. But do you think that gives Fran Brown's Syracuse defense an advantage due to not only his defensive pedigree, and maybe I should have done my research here, but I assume he's faced a Josh Heupel defense.
I think they have, but yeah, I mean, it certainly helps a little bit, but at the same time, I think it, maybe would have been more helpful if they had very similar personnel, and there's been a lot of turnover on that side of the ball, and you have a new quarterback, so that obviously plays a role in things. Maybe he's got more of an advantage because Josh Heupel hasn't faced him as a head coach, right? And so it's not the same exact system that what they were running at Georgia when Fran Brown was there as an assistant. So there's perhaps a little bit of an advantage there. But as we know, your X's and O's can be as great as you want them to be. And if the players don't execute, if you don't have the talent out there, it's not really going to matter. So, we'll see how it plays out. But I think some familiarity certainly helps a little bit. But he also had some unbelievable teams at Georgia when he was there. And even if we think Syracuse is on the right path and on the right trajectory, and I think most around the program do, they're obviously not the same talent level as what those Georgia teams were.
All right, and I know Kelly's going to want to get a little bit deeper into the offense and what we're going to expect from Steve Angeli. But what was that process like this offseason of getting Angeli on campus? Obviously, he's a kid from New Jersey and played more than people think at Notre Dame last year. I think Angeli, you think about him as an average college football fan, and you may go, I don't even know who that guy is. Did he play last year? Well, he played in that Penn State game in the playoff last year and obviously led a scoring drive and showed some of his toughness. Obviously, as a whole, doesn't have a ton of experience, but how did that happen with getting Angeli to campus?
Yeah, Syracuse got Ricky Collins months before from LSU, and he was named the starter after spring ball. And then Syracuse kind of evaluated their quarterback room and looked and said, hey, I think we need someone else in here that can start for us and win games for us. Because if there was a situation where Ricky Collins went down, now you're talking tons of inexperience, including 2 true freshmen. And I don't think that was something that Syracuse wanted to have to go with. So they looked to the transfer portal. Angeli became available. He's got a connection on Syracuse's coaching staff in that the quarterback's coach, Nunzio Campanelli, his brother, was Angeli's high school head coach at Bergen Catholic in New Jersey. So that connection, I think, certainly helped. And then even though they had named Ricky Collins the starter, Steve Angeli knew that if he came in, he would have a legitimate opportunity to compete for the starting job. And ultimately, he was able to win out on that. But, it was kind of one of those things where I think Syracuse was just looking to try to shore up its quarterback room and wasn't expecting someone who, perhaps is Power 4 conference starting material to be available to come in and compete with Ricky Collins. Then he was, and he had a connection to the Syracuse coaching staff, similar to Kyle McCord the offseason before. He had a connection because Fran Brown had known him for years and years and years. So, you're hoping, obviously, if you're a Syracuse fan, that it works out the same way.
Okay, last thing for me, how many Syracuse fans do you expect to see? Obviously, not an easy trip all the way down to Atlanta for Syracuse. You obviously expect a lot of Tennessee fans there, but with the early kick, 11 a.m., obviously this is a bright spotlight for Syracuse and a good opportunity. But how are you gauging the fans' excitement from the Qs?
Well, I know they're excited. They're excited about the opportunity to face an SEC team and an SEC team that was in the college football playoff last year. Syracuse fans, I think, feel like they were 2 plays away, a 4th and 9 stop against Stanford and a 4th and 1 stop against Boston College from being right in the mix of being in the college football playoff themselves. So, they feel like it's a good measuring stick game for them as far as what Tennessee is as a program and where Syracuse is as a program. And so there's a lot of buzz and a lot of excitement among the fan base. As far as how much they'll travel, not really sure. There will certainly be some fans there, but I'm not sure if I would expect that they're going to completely sell out their allotment of tickets, but still remains to be seen on that front.
We're talking to Mike McAllister from Syracuse on 24/7. Kelly, take it away.
Mike, I appreciate you taking the time, man. It's funny when I think about Syracuse football. I'm a lot older than you guys are, but I played with Marvin Harrison and Kevin Johnson, and I also played with Donovan McNabb for a short time. And then one of my good friends is Doug Marrone, who used to coach there. So I got a lot of ties to Syracuse. But when you think about Syracuse football, what are the expectations up there among the fans and among the base of the Cuse football fans?
Well, I think before Fran Brown, it was basically just get to a bowl game every year and be a competitive team that has, some NFL caliber players on it. And largely people would be pretty happy. Now that Fran Brown has come in and kind of taken the community by storm and won 10 games in his first year and kind of flirted with the outskirts of the college football playoff, finished the season ranked, all of those things. And then, a bunch of players end up going to the NFL and get drafted. I think fans have upped what their expectations are. I think they're expecting now that you win 8+ games basically every year, and that you're going to have the opportunity to compete at a really high level and flirt with that college football playoff, if not get into it. Fran Brown has different level of expectations. He expects to win every game and expects to be competing for conference championships and national championships. He said that from his introductory press conference. I think a lot of people, when he said that, thought that it was sort of just one of those things that you have to say at a Power 4 institution, right? But I think a lot of people have since seen some of the things that he's done and said, well, you know what, maybe it is possible that Syracuse could find a way to play themselves into a college football playoff if things do break the right way. Now, the way the schedule sets up this year, with playing Tennessee on a neutral field, at Clemson, at Miami, at Notre Dame, to name a few, it's obviously extremely daunting as far as who they have to play and where. But, I think if you looked at over the next 5 years, I think Syracuse fans are kind of expecting that the season that they had last year is going to be more the norm than the exception.
You just talked about Fran Brown, and you just said some of the things that make him different. But what are some of the other things that make him different? Like in the program, in the organization, what he's doing with kids, what he's doing. What are some of the other things in the community and things like that he's doing that makes him different from the guys that have passed?
Well, they put a real emphasis on community service, and it's not just saying, hey, we want to be active in the community. They actually legitimately do community service events as an entire team, as a program, and they use that as bonding experiences amongst the players, but also getting out there in the community and being there in front of your fans. And I think that helps get more to buy in to what Syracuse football is and what they're building. He's implemented this DART mentality, which is detailed, accountable, relentless, and tough. That's the acronym that has sort of been the foundation of the culture, and they try to do that in everything that they do. And it's just how authentic he is as a person. The emphasis that he puts on schoolwork. There's been rumors that he shows up at random players' classes and sits in to make sure that they're attending. Things like that. There was a story that just came out from his week 1 preview press conference where his son, who's on the team, he's actually paying for his son's tuition so that he can use that scholarship on someone else. It's just little things like that. It's the authenticity when you speak to him. That's what draws recruits and transfers and players, and I think why the buy-in to him as the head coach was so quick among the returning players.
You talked a little bit about Kyle McCord, and we all know it's a pressure box. It's a pressure cooker when you go to Ohio State. And you're right, he went 11-1, but I always felt like just watching him, he never felt comfortable there. And when he came to Syracuse, like I was thinking, well, he's going to go to Syracuse and somebody's going to beat him out. And then he had the year that he had. How do you think that he felt that the coaching staff or whatever, they kind of went for his strengths? How did they make him comfortable in that offense, Mike?
I think they told him right away that they trusted him, and I think that goes a long way. It just seemed like, I agree with you, that the connection between him and Ryan Day just didn't seem to ever really fully be there, right? And sometimes that relationship, even if it's not anyone's fault or there's not like some animosity or some incident or anything like that, sometimes they just don't mesh. And the relationship between him and Fran Brown, it worked right away. I think the fact that they had familiarity with each other before Kyle McCord came to Syracuse certainly helped, but Fran Brown told him from day one, you're the quarterback. We trust you. You're our guy. We're going to give you the playbook and let you go. And everything that they did centered around that. They not only said that, but they walked the talk, so to speak. And he just felt, I think, appreciated, wanted, trusted, and from day one, the fan base embraced him as well. So I think it was just a totally different experience. He went from one spot where he wasn't sure how much support he had from the coaching staff, and he knew that the fan base was talking bad about him and all those things, to having the complete opposite, where you couldn't say a bad word to any Syracuse fan about Kyle McCord at any point last year, even now. And, Syracuse fans would go ballistic. There was a lot of back and forth between Syracuse fans and Ohio State fans as the season was going along about what Kyle McCord is as a player. And in the fact that the coaching staff put that full trust in him to run the offense and be the leader and make changes at the line of scrimmage and do all of those things, I think all of that really made Kyle McCord feel like, you know what, this is the place that I'm supposed to be, and he thrived because of it.
So this is my last question here. We saw where Coach Brown had a top 25 transfer portal class last year, and he did a really good job in the transfer portal. I saw where y'all lost 6 guys on offense this year and 8 guys on defense. Has he filled those voids with capable people that he likes? Or I'm sure he's not going to tell you if he hadn't, but how is he feeling about those guys that he lost last year and replacing them?
Yeah, for the most part, yes. There's still a couple questions like who's going to replace Fidel Diggs, who was their best pass rusher last year, who's now with the New Orleans Saints. They did bring in David Reese from Cal, who's going into his 8th year, which seems crazy to say for college football, but he is in his 8th year of college football, so they're hoping that he can replace some of that pass rushing. And then, whenever you have a guy like LaQuinn Allen, who was so good as a running back out of the backfield as a receiver, and then blitz pickup, an underrated part of a running back's responsibilities, was so good at that too. He's with the Jaguars. It's tough to replace those guys. There's no question. I think they feel pretty good about most of the guys they brought in, along with some of the younger guys that were sort of sprinkled in here and there, stepping up and taking on a larger role. But yeah, I think on paper they feel pretty good about it. The biggest thing to me is going to be the offensive line. You lost 3 of your 5 starters from the bowl game. You brought in a bunch of transfers. How did those guys gel? They struggled stopping the run last year. A lot of that was because they had a ton of injuries at defensive tackle. Well, their best defensive tackle, Murad Watson, transferred out and went to Texas. So how do you replace a guy like that? They did bring in George Rooks from Boston College and Chris Thomas from Marshall, who were pretty good players. So they're hoping that they'll be deeper and better there. But certainly run defense is a bit of a concern based on what we saw last year. And then, of course, the big headline is quarterback play. Syracuse led the nation in passing last year. I don't think anyone's expecting that Steve Angeli is going to come anywhere close to that, right? Especially when you start the season with a better defense than they saw at any point last year. Tennessee was significantly better than anything that Syracuse faced all of last year, even when they were putting up big numbers offensively. So now you've got that level of defense with a quarterback at his first start at this level. Yeah, there's certainly a lot of questions there, but I think Syracuse fans feel pretty good about where this thing is going long term. And the good thing is they have the same offensive coordinator back. It's the same system. They're going to do the same types of things. They're just hoping that the players will fit into those roles.
11 a.m. Saturday, Tennessee and Syracuse. Last thing here, Mike. How does Syracuse match up with Tennessee? I'm not sure how much time you've had to take a look into the Vols, but how do they match up offensively and defensively? Where are the areas the Orange can attack the Vols?
I think the biggest thing is you got to put pressure on Aguilar and hope that you can force him into some turnovers. I heard you guys talking before I came on, and Kelly brought up the good point, which is his responsibility is, not to force it, take care of the football and rely on that defense. Where Syracuse can try to muck that up a little bit is getting after him, putting him into uncomfortable situations and trying to force some of those bad throws or force throws in a tight window so that they can try to get some turnovers and give their offense a short field. That's, I think, Syracuse's best chance to win this game. I do expect that it's going to be on the low-scoring side. I know Tennessee's got some question marks offensively. Syracuse certainly has their share of question marks offensively. We know how good Tennessee's defense is. Special teams could be a little bit of an X factor. Does someone get a punt return touchdown that's a little bit unexpected, or a fumble on a punt return, something like that could turn the tide of things? But I think Syracuse offensively, they're going to do a lot of what they did last year, which is, some RPO, a lot of quick passes. They'll take their shots at times, but it's going to be dependent on whether or not they can protect Angeli enough from the pass rush of Tennessee. And then defensively, I think they're just going to try to make Aguilar as uncomfortable as possible. They didn't blitz a ton last year, but they play a lot of coverage. I think they feel pretty good about what their secondary is. If they can try to make Tennessee have maybe just an average day on the ground, not a fantastic day on the ground, I think they feel like defensively they can match up pretty well.
That's Mike McAllister. You can find him Syracuse on 24/7, part of the 24/7 Sports Network there. Mike, good luck with your coverage this weekend. I would assume you'll be in Atlanta. Safe travels, and we'll see what happens on Saturday.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me on.
All right, that's Mike McAllister. Good insight there. I learned
Absolutely
about Syracuse.
I did too. I like what I hear about old Fran Brown, man. He seems like a guy that is after the hearts of men, which that's what I love to hear. Even in today's transfer portal and NIL world, he makes those guys get out in the community, and that's why I wanted to ask that question, because that's really cool, and that's really trying to make a difference in those young men's lives, and I love it.
Well, and who knows? This Syracuse team, this could, like, you don't know. This, they could come out and struggle and get blown out. They could also come out like gangbusters and not lose a step from last year with a veteran quarterback in Steve Angeli, who's from New Jersey and wants to prove a point. And, maybe their player, we don't know.
No, I'm with you, man. I like Steve Angeli when he came in last year, when he had to come in and sub a couple of times, when their guy got hurt, and he came in. I think he actually started a game last year too. So I've just watching him. He's got guts. He stands in the pocket. He's not a great mobile guy, but he can throw the ball. And just listening to Mike and listening to what all is going on, that kind of fired me up about Fran Brown, because he seems like a guy that has a vision. He's going to mold those kids. I remember when he just brought this up about coaches going into classrooms, like Coach Donnelly said that we couldn't wear hats in a building, which I still can't wear hats when I go into a restaurant. And I always take my hat off, and it's because of Coach Donnelly. And that's a crazy rule. But I can remember my position coach watching me one day, and I had a hat on, and I took that dadgum hat off going into the classroom, because they would check up to see if you're going to class. So that kind of reminded me back of the old days, and that made me, kind of a fan of Fran Brown, because he's going after the hearts of men, man, and that's what I love in today's world. He's making a difference in these kids' lives.
Kelly, take that hat off, boy.
Kelly, take it off, son, because if you don't, you're sitting on the bench this week.
All right, we got Danny on YouTube saying, trust me, lots of Vols fans in Georgia, and we'll be at the game. My son and I will be there. I'm sure there will be. I was curious to see, do Q's fans make the trip? Because Mike said they're excited. There's raised expectations, so should be fun. And obviously, Tony, look, they're having a little bit of trouble selling this. It doesn't surprise me, though. Look, these aren't, this isn't Bama.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's not a blue blood, man. Let's be honest. Like, I play with Marvin and Kevin Johnson and Donovan. Yeah, I mean, they're not blue bloods. It's going to take some time to get them. I mean, I don't know if they'll come.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll talk more about this as the week goes. We're going to try the phones again today. We've got a topic I want to get to with Kelly. The USA Today ranked the top 10 impact transfer portal players in college football. And we're not going to run through every single one of them, but there's a few guys I want to hit on, Kelly, that I think can make legit impacts this season. One of them, of course, being Oklahoma's quarterback. And in the meantime, if you want to jump in on the phones, go ahead and jump in. We'll take your calls as well. So we'll kind of mix and match a little bit. 615-759-9949. If you want to get in, if you want to wait till this next segment around 4:40, do the same. We're here. We're talking with you. We'll take your calls. Again, 615-759-9949. You can also hop in on the text line as well. Chat room on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook is all open as well. So we're talking more college football and taking some of your comments and your calls coming up next. Keep it right here, 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000, just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
A golf cart from Mikey's Motors is the perfect way to get around this summer. Whether you're going to the park, the pool, or the playground, do it in a brand new golf cart from Mikey's Motors, Franklin and Murfreesboro.
Summertime fun in Tennessee. That's what we sell at Mikey's Motors. Come see how we roll.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling. They enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
Convenience and value, two words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400. Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. IV therapy or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com.
Tonight, your Nashville Sounds start a 6-game series at First Horizon Park against Charlotte. Pre-game at 6:20.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan and the Game Nashville app. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
We are back on a day in Nashville. Man, this week has been beautiful. Supposed to continue this way all throughout the weekend. They're going to warm up a little bit on Friday, but supposed to be a nice looking weekend here in the Middle Tennessee area. We've got some calls to take, Kelly, so we've got everything sorted out on that end. I do want to hit on some of those impact transfers as well, so we'll get to that list. But again, we do have a few chats as well, so we'll get the calls and chats out of here, and then we'll keep that the college football talk rolling. But I do want to hit, to lead things off, Tony in Nolensville first in line. Tony, sorry about yesterday. I'm not quite sure what happened with the phones, but glad we're able to get you on today.
That's no problem, Billy. And Kelly, I'm glad, like you say, y'all got that worked out. But being I didn't get to chat with you a little bit yesterday, of course, y'all were talking about Tommy Fleetwood. Congratulations to him on his first PGA win, and what a win it was to win that the FedEx Cup like he did. Kelly, we talked last week about the great putt that Scotty Scheffler had made a week or two ago on number 17 in that tournament. But guys, this past weekend in the FedEx, did y'all see the putt Shane Lowry made?
I did, yes. That was the longest in FedEx Cup history.
And the longest in the history for a one putt, 97 feet and 6 inches.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Unbelievable.
It was unbelievable.
I would be 3-putting that all day long.
All day long. All day long, Tony.
The man to run a snake up there that long and get and drop it in the hole, man, that was a pin seeker if there ever was one.
Awesome.
But I saw that. That was just something. And but yeah, that was kudos to them. And of course, the golf season is going. We'll continue watching it. Billy, I don't know if y'all saw this, and this will be something to bring up with Danny to talk about. I'm sure it'll be on this week. Is the Field of Dreams is coming back to Iowa. They're doing it again for next year in 2026. It's going to be the Phils, the Phillies playing. I believe it's the Minnesota Twins. They're going to do the Field of Dreams again next year from Iowa. So that's going to be fun to see that come back. So, guys, talking here about some football. And y'all were talking about it late last week. With this 9th game SEC being added, part of the criteria they have also, they've got to maintain playing a top, I believe, one game of a Power 5 opponent. So you've got 10 games now on a 12-game schedule. That only leaves, you've got 2 games to get somebody else in there, and then most teams always do the money game for the FCS schools. I don't know how that's going to eliminate the FCS games from a lot of scheduling, or is it going to make it where these teams, everybody's still got to play, like I say, the one Power 5 along with 2 mid-majors, because to get into playoffs with the expanded playoff picture that's happening, I think you're going to want to still play more power or more higher-ranking FBS schools as opposed to having an FCS school on your schedule. Y'all agree with that?
Absolutely. Yeah. The thing with this news, Tony, is, and we've talked about it, for Vandy, Mississippi State, Arkansas, Kentucky, sort of you say the dregs, but it is what it is. It's more difficult on those teams. It just got a lot tougher. And I've told this to George as well. This is another step, Kelly, in moving toward a super conference, whatever that's going to look like. We keep seeing these steps along the way, and this was another one of them. And, for the SEC, it is what it is. Like that, I think it's great for the SEC, but there's people in teams that suffer and will suffer because of this, and that's the fact of the matter.
I just wonder if we ever get to these super conferences, Tony and Billy, if we ever get to these super conferences and then all these teams are trying to get into the super conference, and then maybe it's just the Big Ten and the SEC, let's say that's the case, which I don't think that will be the case, but what if it is the case? And then you get a school that, like a Mississippi State or a Vanderbilt, that hadn't played good in 3 or 4 years. Does that give the commissioner an opportunity to say, hey, y'all are not living up to the bargain. Y'all going to have to go, and we're going to get somebody else in here. I don't know if that'll ever come to that. But I think this time in college sports and college football in general is something that we just don't know how it's going to play out.
Kelly, I agree, and I'll leave you on this note, and I'll let y'all talk a little further. But with them going to this, like you're saying, they keep chipping at it. This power conference, if they take, let's just say, 12 teams from each, and let's pretend the 12 out there. So we've got 5 major conferences. They take 12 teams from it. You've got 60 teams. These other teams, like you just said, Kelly, the Mississippi State, a Vanderbilt, a North Carolina State, Wake Forest, what do those schools do? Do they go form their own conference? Or where does that put them in the pie chart? Where do they go, and what are they going to be playing for other than maybe match up in bowl games? So I'm going to let y'all talk about it. But, guys, it's just some talk. It's an ongoing thing. It's unbelievable in college sports today. We've got all these continuous ongoing segments, the portal, the NIL, the realignment, the mega conference, that we keep talking about these things. My, what the way the world has changed in sports is unbelievable. Guys, I'm going to let you go. Good show. You're doing a great job, Billy. Y'all two holding it down. George might want to take a second week. You never can tell.
You may.
See you guys.
Thanks, Tony. That's it's interesting. I don't know what happens to, say, Wake Forest, Northwestern. I don't think anybody does. I mean,
Purdue, teams like that. Like who knows? Who knows?
We've had people chat in here and bring up the academic sort of a Southern Ivy League type of deal where you've got Wake, Duke, Vandy, maybe Tulane, other teams. I don't know who else would be in that. Maybe you form that, a league of your own. But at the end of the day, it's the haves versus the have-nots. And
that's what it's going to be.
To answer Tony's question, they're the have-nots, and they're not going to be making the playoff. I mean, as tough as that is for an Arkansas fan to hear, or a Vandy fan to hear, or a Mississippi State fan to hear, you're not going to be making the playoff. I mean, you're just not. Now, if they expand to 16 on a good year, do they have outside chances? Maybe, but it's about the haves and the have-nots, and that's what it's about.
And how far is this along, though, Billy? Like, is it going to be 2 years? Is it going to be 5 years? Like I told y'all last week, I had a guy tell me when they do this new restructuring, it's going to be like 2 years, and they're going to start it. Or is it going to be 5 years? Is it going to be 10 years? I don't think anybody knows that, but I think we're all on the same wavelength as it's going to be a super conference at some point, because they're the ones that are controlling the money and making the money.
Yeah.
And that's what all these this is what Fox and CBS and ABC and that's what all of them want. They want money, and they're going to start controlling that as well. And it's going to go to a big super conference at some point.
Let's go to Jeff in Murfreesboro. Jeff, what's going on?
How's it going, guys?
Good.
I know. Can Kelly, you hear me today?
Nope, he can't hear you.
That's what as usual. As usual, he can't hear me, but he can hear everybody else. So as usual, that 5-cent headphones you got. First of all, if you want to do it in football, always has and have not. Do it in every sport. Then every sport. If you come to Kentucky and tell us get out of the SEC, we'll get out. Okay, in the '60s, they thought about getting out because they couldn't recruit black players. They couldn't do it, and they thought about going to the Big Ten, some other league. They didn't do it. They thought about it. So let's do it in basketball, some other sports. How about that? You want to, Billy? Come on. Comments. Volleyball. Y'all ain't got no volleyball program over at Vanderbilt. Y'all just starting it after 40 years not having one. So let's do it in other sports. So y'all won't do it in other sports, will you? You won't do it. It's all about football, isn't it? All about the cash. All about the cash, isn't it? So we're playing this weekend in Bridgestone Arena, Nebraska, #1 team in America. We're going to play it on ABC TV. Not some SEC network business. The Tennessee Purdue's playing. So y'all hang in there, baby. Let's see if Tennessee can beat Syracuse. They ain't gonna win Saturday. You better get ready. So, and Kelly, I'll see you in Middle Tennessee Saturday night. You're gonna come up here and watch Austin Peay in Middle. See you, babe.
I don't even know what to say to that. He said he said see you Saturday. MTSU and Austin Peay.
He ain't gonna see me Saturday. He can go, but I won't be there. What was he talking about, Billy? It's crazy. I can't. He's the only one I can't hear. I don't understand that.
Well, he was ripping our headphones. He said 5-cent headphones, and I'm like, no, Jeff. I think the only The only one that Kelly can't hear is you. So I think
That is the only one. I don't understand it. I cannot hear him.
But no, not a whole lot there in that call. He brought up the haves and the have-nots. Why don't you do it in basketball? Why don't you separate that in basketball? And he brought up Kentucky. Well, Kentucky will leave. We'll be fine. But no, I don't think that call needs much of a recap.
But all the haves and have-nots are going to be in football. I mean, that's where the big money is. We know that. It's about football. That's why all this Big Ten stuff went out and got USC and UCLA and Oregon and all those teams, Washington. That's why, because it's all about money. It's all about football. That's why I would love to see the Pac-12 get back and say, hey, football, y'all are your own entity. Y'all go do what you want to do, but we're going to have the Pac-12. We're going to have basketball and baseball and volleyball and soccer. We're going to have and baseball. We're going to have all that out here. Y'all go do what you want to, but we're staying here. I would love to see that. Obviously, they can't do it, but I don't know where it's going, man. It's crazy.
Well, Jeff, I know it's all about your Kentucky basketball program, but it's also about football. Football is the cash cow. So that's what it's about, and that's what we're going to keep talking. But coming up, we're talking more football. We're going to talk about the impact transfer portal players this season. There was a great piece out of the USA Today here in the last couple of days running through the top 10 impact transfer portal players, and we're going to run through some of those players and talk about what kind of impact they can make. Some of them are pretty interesting and how much they can change their program this season. So we'll talk more about that, continuing to take some of your phone calls as well, some of your comments, so keep them coming. This is 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a racing sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall.
Here's Officer Darren Hoskins for the Metro Nashville Police Department.
The Metro Nashville Police Department is on the forefront of policing in this century, and I'm glad I'm a part of it. I'm glad I get to find other good officers, other future good officers. And if you're watching today, or you yourself or someone you happen to know is interested, join MNPD.com. Feel free to reach out to us because we need good officers, and it's a great city to work for.
Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday. Receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday. Two total screw-ups of humongous proportions.
Sports. We're not living in an era where perfection is necessary.
They thought they were a championship contending team.
Here, we told you not to do this.
Your sports live here.
ESPN 94.9.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
We are back on a Tuesday here in Nashville on 94.9 The Fan. Alongside Kelly Holcomb, I'm Billy Derrick. George out on vacation this week. He will be back next week. We'll get him back on for underdog picks on Thursday. We got a full week 1 slate to pick games, so that'll be fun on Thursday. It'll also be fun to watch all these games here kicking off week 1. And Kelly, there's a lot of players that are going to be making impacts this year. A lot of them are transfers. And I saw this piece. I like to scour USA Today every now and then, and because I think they've got several writers that put out really good stuff. One of them I saw today was top 10 impact players out of the transfer portal heading into this season. And number 1 was John Mateer, quarterback at Oklahoma, coming in from Washington State. No single transfer may have a bigger impact on the college football playoff rates. USA Today writes, Mateer, along with his former coordinator Ben Arbuckle, could transform the Sooners' middling offense and turn them into a legit contender in the SEC. Do you think that, how possible is that? Because, and I'm so interested because Vanderbilt did this last year with Diego Pavia and Tim Beck and Jerry Kill, bringing them over and transforming what Vanderbilt could do. You knock off Alabama, you finish 7-6, you get to a bowl game. How replicable is that at other schools? And is John Mateer a Diego Pavia type that can? He's a good player, but I'm interested because does it take a mindset almost? It's especially at a place like Vanderbilt, and maybe Vanderbilt's just different. But I'm interested to see what we see out of Mateer and the Sooners this year. See what kind of an impact he can make.
I think Vanderbilt's got a template of how you do that, and I think you got to give it to Clark Lee. He went out and he got Tim Beck, which was the offensive coordinator. He got Jerry Kill, which was the head coach, and they brought their quarterback, Diego Pavia. Yeah,
Oklahoma's already got a defensive-minded coach in Venables as well, too. So it's
that's right. That's right. So Mateer, you're right. Brent Venables, he understands that. Hey, he's probably on the hot seat. Like he hasn't looked good the last couple of years, and last year, they had the Jackson Arnold kid who was just not good. They just did not. I don't know, for whatever reason they didn't mesh, and that's the problem with this transfer portal. Like, are your kids that you bring in? You're looking for talent, you're looking for speed, you're looking for awareness of football, but like, are they going to fit in with your team? Like, it's like the NFL. Sometimes that stuff with free agents don't mesh. Sometimes this stuff with transfer portal guys don't mesh. But when you're bringing a young man in who, as a defensive-minded coach, you need somebody to help you with the offense, and what better way to do it is to bring the quarterback and his offensive coordinator to you and to try to implement that offense. And you know that Oklahoma is a blue blood. They've won a lot of national championships. They expect to win down there, and I think this certainly helps him. And I know you're going to go down through all these guys, but I think they've got a running back as well. And I forget where he's transferring in from, but they've got a running back that's coming into Oklahoma too. So that's kind of a two-pronged deal right there, where you've got a quarterback from his offensive coordinator that's coming with him. He knows the offense, so he can explain it, and he's can teach these guys in the offense. And then you've got a running back who's coming, and he might be a big contributor as well. So I think you can't sleep on Oklahoma and what they're going to do this year. I think everybody's talking about Texas and Georgia, and is Alabama back, and LSU with Garrett Nussmeier, but I don't think you can sleep on Oklahoma this year, especially if the Mateer kid plays well.
No, and Jay Nott is the running back, transfer from California, had 2,500 yards in his first 3 years. His best year was a couple of years ago. He had over 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns. He was hurt by an ankle injury, but he's a guy that has produced at Cal, and so that'll add on to what Mateer has offensively. Up next, though, the guy they had here at number 2 was Carson Beck at Miami. The more I've thought about Carson Beck at Miami, I think he's got a lot of potential this year within that offense. We know his talent. We saw him at Georgia. He was banged up last year, of course, and that made way for Gunnar Stockton. We saw how different that Georgia offense
is and was without Carson Beck. But Miami, they lose Isaiah Horton. He's at Alabama now. They lose some other receivers. But Kelly, to go from Cam Ward to Carson Beck is pretty impressive as a program to be able to do that. That tells you you've got the resources, you've got the coaching in Cristobal. But I think Beck could have a really, really impressive season.
You never know. I'm going to throw up my hands because you never know how a guy's going to fit in with a team. The first year he started, he played really well. And for some reason last year, I know he was hurt. He had the injury bug a little bit, but he just didn't. And maybe that was it. He just didn't look like the Carson Beck that we found out the year before. So can he get well and can he play like he played that one year? If he can, then Miami's got a legitimate shot. And that's why obviously Mario Cristobal brought him in. You need a leader, and you got to have a quarterback in college. Like Watson Brown talked about this last week when he was talking about it, but I can remember growing up, it was all about the Herschel Walkers and the Bo Jacksons. All you had to do was turn around and hand it to them. But football's changed so much that if you don't have a guy behind the center like it always has been in the National Football League, now in college at these big-time programs, if you don't have a quarterback, you don't have anything. And it's going to be interesting to see how Carson Beck follows up his one good year at Georgia. And is he healthy enough to play good this year? And how is he going to fit with this football team? And I think we're going to see it this Saturday against your Fighting Irish. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, that's going to be tough for Notre Dame. I think that's going to be a fun game. Duke has Darian Mensah, who comes over from Tulane. John Summerall, Tulane, right. Tough loss for that program. I don't know a ton about this kid. He's a promising young player. He's
pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, 2,723 yards, 22 touchdowns in one season as the Green Wave starter. He should be an upgrade over Malik Murphy, who I didn't even realize until a week ago. He's at Oregon State now. This could be a big time X factor for Duke. And who is their head coach, Kelly? I'm forgetting right now. That is
It's a good question because I can't remember. You put me on the spot. This is like this. Duke answer that I've the question that I've got to answer at the top of the hour on every show right now without George. It sucks. Oh, it's Manny.
Manny Diaz. Yeah.
Okay, Manny Diaz. Yeah, he was a former assistant here at Middle. So yeah, and he went to the University of Miami. So Manny's maybe he's got some experience now that he he was at Miami and he got his head coaching. He got a little bit of head coaching experience, and maybe he can. Because I always liked him when I talked to him, man. I really liked the way he called his defense. But the Mensah kid, you're talking about him. He's kind of like a Cam Ward. Billy, he didn't get recruited out of high school, and nobody wanted him. He goes to Tulane, and then obviously I know that coaching staff being from Troy, but Joe Craddock was his offensive coordinator, and
yeah,
he played really well last year. I was quite he's not a very big guy, but he played really well last year, and I think they were obviously sad to see him go. There was some things I found out, with Joe Craddock, but there towards the end. He knew he was going somewhere else, but I think the Mensah kid can play. I really do. He's not very agile on his feet, but he can move and he can make things happen with his feet. But he's kind of a pocket passer. He's not overly big now. He's not. I think he's probably 6 foot. Good player.
Yeah, and some other guys that I sent to you here in this text thread: wide receiver Eric Singleton at Auburn, who comes in from Georgia Tech. And I remember in the bowl game, the Birmingham Bowl, got a good look at him. Really, really good player. So, and Auburn's also got Coleman as well, Keon Coleman at receiver. This Auburn team, Kelly, we haven't even talked a ton about, well, we've talked about Jackson Arnold, but not in this segment as one of the impact players. He's not as surefire impact. We're still kind of waiting to see what we get from Arnold.
Right,
but
Auburn
might be one of the biggest teeter-totter teams where they could finish 6-6, 7-5, all things go bad. But man, they got talent. This could be a playoff team if everything clicks.
That's what I was about to say. It seems like Hugh Freeze always had this where they're always teeter-tottering on being great or being just very average.
Yeah.
And with these guys that they got coming in and can help Jackson Arnold, and they can get him from being wide-eyed like he was in the Tennessee game because he's going to have that every week. Obviously, he found out at Oklahoma, but they're talented. They got some talented guys. Now, can Hugh Freeze keep them up to a standard of play, or do they lose some games early and everybody kind of quits on the season? That's kind of been the story for him the last couple of years. So it's going to be interesting to see how all these transfers work out because, like I said, these coaches think they got something. They've seen them in practice. They've got them on their field. They got them in their weight room. They got them in their position meetings. But how are they going to perform when the lights come on? You just never really know until it actually happens.
We'll see. The lights will come on Thursday night with the beginning of week 1, also all the way through Friday. We'll have plenty more time to talk more about those games. But those are some of the impact players that could and probably will. A lot of those guys are going to be making impacts this season. We'll see if I can continue to make an impact after just hopping on here and winning last night with the Mets. and I mean that's what I do. So we'll recap what happened last night and hopefully get another winner for you guys tonight with Bet of the Day coming right up. Keep it right here, 94.9 The Fan.
At Electronic Express, we're making it easy to save big this Labor Day with up to 40% off TVs, computers, appliances, mattresses, furniture, and more. And the more you buy, the more you save, with up to $1,200 in additional savings on trusted brands like LG, Whirlpool, Frigidaire, and Samsung. Shopping local comes with perks, like free delivery and up to 24 months of interest-free financing. Visit us in-store or online at electronicexpress.com. We've got that.
Experience the magic of Celtic heritage at the Middle Tennessee Highland Games and Celtic Festival, September 6th and 7th at Saunders Ferry Park. Witness thrilling, heavy athletics like the caber toss. Enjoy live Celtic music on 3 stages. Browse artisan vendors, savor Scotch tastings, and let kids explore fun activities. General admission starts at just $25 and parking is free. Tickets on sale now at mid10games.com. Middle Tennessee Highland Games and Celtic Festival, where heritage comes alive.
Don't let shoulder or elbow injuries put a dent in your golf game or keep you off the course. The sports medicine experts at Houston Clinic Orthopedics can help you return to playing your best game pain-free. They offer treatment options from physical therapy to injections and, if needed, surgery. Houston Clinic Orthopedics has 8 convenient locations around Middle Tennessee. To experience world-class orthopedic care and to book your appointment, visit tn.houston.com.
Blue Raider fans, this is the night we've been waiting for. Saturday, August 30th, kickoff 6 p.m. The season opener inside Johnny Red Floyd Stadium. MTSU versus Austin Peay. And it's the first ever whiteout. We're talking a sea of white, wall-to-wall energy, and a stadium rocking with Blue Raider pride. Come enjoy the family fun zone and Blue Raider beer garden on field level. End zone reserve tickets just $22. Don't wait. Go BlueRaiders.com/tickets. That's GoBlueRaiders.com/tickets. August 30th, 6 p.m. Blue Raiders, Governors, whiteout. Be there. Phil Floyd.
Now, here's your latest Fox 17 Code Red weather report.
I'm Fox 17 meteorologist Brett Luna. We're looking at pretty nice weather for the next several days. We'll have highs in the lower 80s Wednesday and Thursday, and it's not going to be humid either. Highs go up a little bit for Friday through the weekend. We'll be around the mid and upper 80s, but still with the lower humidity.
Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network. Start your engines. Nashville's biggest racing weekend is back. It's the Borchetta Bourbon Music City Grand Prix, August 30th and 31st at Nashville Super Speedway. The speed, the sound, the stars of open wheel racing are all going full throttle, and you can catch every second of the action right here on 102.5 The Game. Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Racing takes over Music City. Don't miss a lap. Your sports live here on 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Well, we got baseball tonight, but come Thursday night, we'll have college football and all throughout the season. Of course, we'll have football Thursday nights, Friday nights, Monday nights. So finally got a lot more football to bet on. But first, we take a look at what happened in Plaster Bet of the Day. I guess Derek Bet of the Day this week, brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. We're going to take a look at George first and what he has done He's ice cold, and so what we've done, Kelly, is we have flipped this and turned it into Derek's bet of the day results this week. How funny would that be if I've got a good week rolling here? And had the Mets last night. Tonight, I'm staying in New York and taking the Yankees against the Nationals. The Yankees are fighting for their playoff lives, and the Nationals are one of the worst teams in baseball. So I know this is a can of corn here, but I got to get some wins here.
Really, I kind of hope you go 5-0. To be honest with you,
that would be so fun.
If you go 5-0, and when he comes back, you've got to post that every day.
I still can't believe that this weekend, how bad last weekend was. And those were
hard though, man.
Those were close. K-State obviously was close game. Stanford, that was a close game. I think the over just barely missed in that Kansas game. So we'll see if George can get back on track. We got underdog picks Thursday. We'll have Danny Evans tomorrow. A lot of baseball talk with the playoffs getting cranked up. So keep it right here. For Kelly Holcomb, I'm Billy Derrick saying so long. We'll see you guys tomorrow.